This news update is brought to you by
I won for me to me.
For me?
You don't need speakers, right?
Upgrade to win every week with Lime. Sign up for Lime TV or broadband or purchase an iPhone 6 or Samsung Note 4. Upgrade Christmas with Lime.
Welcome to the Barbados Today evening update for Wednesday, December the 3rd, 2014. I'm Emmanuel Joseph. Thanks for joining us. We begin with good news for Barbados and other Caribbean destinations. Britain's Chancellor of the Exchequer, George Osborne, today announced that the controversial air passenger duty will be abolished from May next year for children 12 years and under, and for those 16 and under a year later. Tourism Minister Richard Seeley, who is also the chairman of the Caribbean Tourism Organization, has welcomed the news. He said the decision reduces the burden of families traveling to the region as it will make flying more affordable. Seeley says the adjustments come just in time for next year's summer season, which he believes will have a positive impact on arrivals from the UK. This tax break saves a family of 4 flying to the Caribbean €142, that's about $349. In other news, police are assuring the public that they are on top of the country's crime situation. The assurance comes on the heels of a bloody weekend where 3 people were killed and another 7 were injured in separate incidents. Public Relations Officer Acting Assistant Superintendent David Welch says no one has been arrested in connection with those matters, but investigations are continuing at a steady pace. He says 2 people remain in hospital following the drive-by shooting at Danesbury Road, Black Rock, St. Michael. Welch is also urging the public to help his department capture the perpetrators.
If you have any information, that information will be kept in the strictest confidence. That if they do see a crime committed, do not keep them to themselves, but to share it with the police, and we will make sure that it is investigated. From our information, crimes are crime of opportunity, and wherever the opportunity presents itself, then it may occur. We at this stage reassuring the public of our high policing efforts, and there is no cause for concern at this time that we will continue to seriously investigate all of these incidents.
Attorney General Adriel Brathwaite says he is bought into the concept of a drug treatment court in Barbados, and he's anxious for the island to set up its own. Addressing a regional training workshop on monitoring and the evaluation of drug treatment courts this morning, he insisted it's the right thing to do to save more young people, while acknowledging there are still questions about the success of the model. The AG says it will be important to have a mechanism in place to monitor and evaluate the court.
I'm advised that the cost of incarceration of an individual in Barbados is about $35,000 Barbados dollars per annum. So certainly we can begin there as a benchmark when a year from now, when we look at the success or failures of a model and see whether or not it is more expensive to have a drug treatment court model that is less expensive or not, is on par, the benefits or otherwise, etc. It is important for us to be able to have this mechanism in place to evaluate all that we're doing.
The University of the West Indies Open Campus is gearing up to accommodate large numbers of special needs students. Principal of UWI Open Campus, Professor Eudin Barito, told the media this morning that a $21 million injection from the Canadian government will help the Open Campus expand its educational program. She says the funds will also help the development of new teaching programs, which will attract more young men.
Young men are a special target because in terms of the senior administration of the university, we are concerned that a lot of young men don't tap into tertiary education. And to the extent that we can design programs that will attract them, we would want to do that. We want them to realize their fullest potential. As you know, in the media in Barbados, there's a lot of talk about young men and what causes it, and You know, I personally have done a lot of feminist research, and I think the blaming of women is not the answer. But I really do think that we need to have more young men at the universities and doing all kinds of things. And in a sense, they represent an untapped market. And I frequently thought if I could get them off the blocks and in front of their laptops, I would be very thrilled that they're doing something, and they are attracted to different types of programming. And I think as educators, we have a responsibility to cater to them.
There's regional and international news after this short break.
Hi, I'm Red Plastic Bag. Anyone who knows me knows I don't like cold. Sunshine reigns in my country. I love it.
Catch the sun power.
In sports, West Indies Test captain Dennis Ramden is appealing to the makers of cricket helmets to improve on the quality of their products. The call follows the death of Australian cricketer Philip Hughes. Ramden, who is currently in South Africa with the regional team for a 3-test series, is adamant that the current helmets do not provide adequate protection. He says the headgear, which is made of fiberglass, needs to be improved since a player can feel the pain whenever the helmet is struck by a ball. To the region now, Guyana's opposition leader David Granger blanks calls from President Donald Ramotar for talks on their political stalemate. President Ramotar wrote to Granger 2 weeks ago calling for formal talks on the issues, but Granger says his partnership for national unity has nothing to say to the president until Parliament is reconvened.
I have formally responded to President Ramotar's letter stating that APNU will be unprepared to participate in any dialogue until and unless the National Assembly is reconvened, and until, of course, the order of prorogation is revoked. So that is where we are. We will continue to keep up this campaign of protests until President Ramotar reconvenes Parliament.
And internationally, a grand jury in New York today decided not to indict a city officer over the July chokehold death of Eric Garner. The family's lawyer, Jonathan Moore, was astonished with the decision based on the evidence of the videotape. More in this CNN report.
Eric Garner suffered from pulmonary issues. Eric Garner, as just listening to the medical examiner and reading the details, the full picture here is important. Overweight, asthmatic, later died. Medical examiner ruled this a homicide. And so members of the Staten Island grand jury have been convening and parsing through the testimony and the evidence and the details, and ultimately arrived at this decision that they had to determine whether it was malicious intent, that the officer who threw his arm around Eric Garner's neck did so with an intent to kill, with malicious intent. And as we're now learning, they did not decide to indict that police officer. And that's where we end our Barbados Today evening update. We'll be back again tomorrow morning. Until then, remember to log on to www.barbadostoday.bb, subscribe to our e-paper and email updates, or like us on Facebook. You can also catch us on Izumi Media in bus terminals or screen plate supermarkets and gas stations near you. Also tune into Channel 101 on Lawmen TV to get all the latest news and sports. I'm Emmanuel Joseph. Have a fantastic evening.
This news update is brought to you by...
You got an upgrade for Christmas.
If you're feeling lucky, you could win some money.
An upgrade for Christmas.
$200,000 in cash and prizes. With Lime, you could win some money. It's Lime's Christmas Lottery. 250 winners this Christmas, oh yeah.
Sign up or upgrade to super fast broadband, Lime TV, e-billing, a data plan. Top up $15. Purchase a handset or text 4263 to enter.
Upgrade for Christmas.